Our fourth video is all about Wellen Park, south of Sarasota, especially Island Walk and Grand Palm, as well as what do you do if you actually love Lakewood Ranch and Venice somewhat equally.
Real quick, for those that don't know me, I'm Adam Hancock. I have a real estate group in Southwest Florida, and I put out daily videos on Florida relocation and investment assistance. And for access to over 90 videos in the last 11 months and counting.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm gonna go grab a quick coffee here while I run you through the game plan for today. So another pretty busy day. So I'm gonna take the back so I don't have to cross that death street right now, this construction. But so I got a few things going on. So I have a call here in 15 minutes. It's 9 a.m. right now. It's already kind of getting hot. But I have a call in 15 minutes and with a client that's coming in next Friday. So we're gonna catch up. A lot of times on like Thursday or Friday, I have to align like the weekend and the whole next week. You know, just because people are flying in and travel days and all that kind of stuff. There's not a lot of time to talk in between. So it's usually when I'll, game plan the whole next week. But I have a call with the gentleman coming in next Friday to catch up. I have several new client calls today. One's at 10, I have like another one at 2, another one at 3 of people that reached out that we have a scheduled call. And then, so cool thing today is I have a new client that's in town for the first day of their tour. They're gonna be in town for 3 days. So they're in at 10:30, and that whole entire day one is centered around Wellen Park. So I know a lot of people are interested in Wellen, and I haven't shown much there in person, talk about it a lot, but we're doing Oasis, Renaissance, Grand Palm. We're also gonna go over to Talon Preserve in Nokomis, which is Devasta. We're gonna do Island Walk. So I'm gonna be on site for maybe an hour and a half or so of that. And that it will be with one of the agents. How you doing? That'll be with one of the agents, Deanna, who is new to the team. She's been doing unbelievable, so I'm excited about her. And she'll be there for most of the tour, and I'll be there for the first couple hours or so. But I'll make sure to show a bunch of stuff on site there and kind of talk through that's a really good perspective of shopping several of the communities in there at similar price points. So I'll give you guys a lot of context while I'm there. And then Talon Preserve is in Nokomis. And that's really, really coastal. I think it's actually a really cool spot, but people usually aren't super high on it because it sits right next to I-75. So it's good and bad depending on what you're looking for. But kind of talk through some of that. And then this afternoon, I'm gonna be hopping back over to the Lake Club where I was with the gentleman the other day when I was filming a little bit outside there. But so he's under contract, closes in August on a spec home. So I'm gonna do the, I think they're at Windows right now. So I'm gonna do a walkthrough on their behalf. And I'll show you guys some of that site. It's a really nice lot on the water. He was at about 1.2 million, but super nice house, great layout. So I'll talk through that. And then, cool thing yesterday. So had the no-show interview girl. So still haven't heard from her. Don't know what's happening there. Hopefully she's all right. But we made the offer on the interview that I did the other day. She accepted. We are excited. So I have to do loads of follow-up. So obviously I'm moving on the road a lot. So administratively, with this transition of assistance, been pretty difficult. So going to bring her in next week. Really excited about her. So that's happening. And then, yeah, I think that's about covers it. So I will try to do a lot more on site today and fill you guys in on all of this kind of stuff, and we will go from there. Okay guys, so I'm gonna kind of walk and talk. I'm cleaning out my car. I did not know people were gonna be riding with me today. But so I'm about to head to Wellen, but I just had two client calls, the one existing and the one new. And just want to kind of talk through the theory of that. So the first one's coming in next Friday, and they're basically at the stance that they're not gonna buy until, they're not gonna make a decision till fall. So that one, but they're gonna be in town for like 4 days. So it's gonna be new construction based probably, but so that price range, it's kind of wide. It's in a way that's not super typical. So 350 to 600, which is, quite different. But what they're looking for is they actually like Lakewood Ranch and Venice like kind of equally, which a lot of people don't because they're so different, So with that case, what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna kind of do that top-down thing that I like to do of disqualify area first. You really got to figure that out. So they're gonna get here a little early, and I instructed them to how do we use our time, if we're here a couple days early, right? So I'm meeting them on a Friday. They come in, I think, a day and a half early. So what I advised them to do, get this stationary. So what I advised them to do was basically, like, I think the best use of that time is if, say we're gonna start on day one in Lakewood Ranch, is to basically see, like, if you live in Lakewood Ranch or Palmer Ranch, right? You have like the suburban amenities right there and all that kind of stuff. But if you live in either one of those areas, your town is Sarasota. So you have the Sarasota beaches, even Longboat Key and all that, Sarasota Manatee, Sarasota's downtown, you have all of that. So that's what the real comparison is. If you're in Venice, you have Casperson, you have Venice Beach, you have Brohard, you have downtown Venice. Very different in that respect. Wellen Park to downtown Sarasota is 45 minutes. It's 31 miles, and it's western, so you got to kind of go over west. So the living's very different in that respect. So I think that's the biggest thing. If you choose anywhere in Sarasota or Manatee, you're going to kind of congregate in the same areas, even if it's a little distance. So I advise that maybe use the time to do that before we meet, because what a lot of people do is they kind of, it's do we keep Venice in play or do we take it out type of situation. So we're basically going to tour them with that. So if they disqualify Venice, then we would get really hard at Lakewood Ranch and Palmer, and we won't talk about Parish until it's necessary based on like criteria, maybe at that 600 price point. But a smaller house, especially a 2-bedroom or 18 to 2200 square feet or so, it might work in Lakewood Ranch in a lot of ways. So we're going to do that and then park it until the fall. And then the new client, so they're kind of it's a cool one situation wise. So it's 5 to 700K. And it's basically, they're viewing it as like kind of a 10-year house. And what they want to really do is they really like Venice, and they like a part of Venice that I used to do a lot in. I don't talk about a whole lot. It's just, it's further south or whatever. But so what they really like is, so they want something really unique. They want a full lap pool. So they need a house that's wide enough, because they're swimmers. So they don't care. It's not a dipping pool, but it's an actual lap pool. And they don't want like almost like lanes, So the house has to be wide enough to be able to do that kind of thing. It has to be in the right restrictions to be able to do that kind of thing. So what I'm doing there at 5 to 700, and basically maybe a 2,150 square foot house and a 3-bedroom model, that kind of thing. We're gonna parallelly compare South Sarasota as west as we can possibly be, maybe the Gulf Gate, maybe Philippi Creek, maybe Vamo, maybe Osprey Nokomis. We're going to compare and contrast that plus South Venice, and this is more urban infill on an existing lot. This is resale. We're going to contrast those. So South Venice, Venice Gardens, that's the area right below downtown Venice. That's kind of like, not really a beach, you have to take a ferry to it. But what that is it's really affordable. It's kind of like a blue collar boating community almost, it kind of looks like. So a lower average price point, but not in a scattered way, so looser restrictions. You can do 8-foot fences to almost the street in a lot of areas. You can park your RV, you can park your boat in the yard, stuff you can't do a lot of places. So we're going to look at that model of saying like, that's where and if you're someone that doesn't necessarily love tract housing and you want some variety, that might be the move. So we're going to look at resales parallel against, and urban infill parallel against new construction, right? So like, can we do it at Wellen? Can we do it at North Venice? Can we do it in, southeast Sarasota? So we're going to look at those just because the market right now, it's just, you can't just be like, it's resale or nothing. So that would give you the most availability. So they're going to be in for a full month. So in that case, it's, how many days do you use? How do you look at it? How do you circle back? Like, how do you enjoy the trip as well? So we're going to do that. So that's kind of that situation, So we're getting a lot of these people that are getting kind of less interested in new construction in a lot of ways because of the current environment. But nonetheless, right, these things evolve, and I'm looking at everything in a very long cycle. So that's good. So we're gonna get them set up appropriately. I'm about to take off from here to Wellen Park, and we're gonna do Oasis. So it's crazy. You think about these builders, you don't think about like they're just closed. So Oasis is fully closed, and the salesperson will not come in to meet us. So we're at a Friday morning, fully closed. Can't go there at all. So we scratched Talent Preserve for right now, and these people have family that lives in Renaissance, which is Mattamy or MI. I think it's Mattamy Homes. But so we're gonna do Renaissance. We're gonna do Grand Palm first. The sales girl Erin there is amazing. So I've done 3 in Grand Palm this year. We're gonna do Grand Palm first. We're gonna do Renaissance with Nick, the sales guy there, which is great, second. And then we're gonna hop over to meet Regina at Island Walk, hopefully, if they're available. That is Neil Homes, that is either Mattamy or MI, I'm blanking. And then that's Devosta, which is Island Walk. So we're gonna do that. I'll definitely get some stuff on site. I'm gonna have people riding with me, but find some gaps to kind of show people what that looks like if you've never been to the area. And then I'm going to Lake Club from there in the afternoon. So I'll hop back in and I will catch up with you guys later. Aaron's like one of the coolest salespeople. I've had success in here with her. I've got 2 this year. Hey guys, I am back in the car. I'm actually, so from about 11:30 to now, more or less, which is about 5 o'clock, I was at Wellen Park that entire time. So day went a little bit different than I thought it was going to be. I was supposed to be out in Lakewood Ranch to walk around earlier, and there's a bunch of stuff I was planning on doing, but it's all good. I mean, sometimes it's got to veer. But we had we needed 2 cars to transport, so wasn't able to find a gap there, but no worries. So these folks, we started at Grand Palm, and so it ended up actually being 2 separate couples, and then a younger daughter, I think in her 20s, with a kid. So it's going to be 3 separate things we're all looking at in congruence with each other. And Grand Palm seems to be really interesting. So Wellen Park is in it's like, so like Boca Raton's in Englewood, and like some of it's in Venice, and Northport is a lot of the districts. So but what it is like, it's interesting if you go over there, because kind of on the internet, on the website, it looks like this is one place. It looks so cohesive, and there's areas where they drive a little separate, right? And even like the new off of 41, off of the trail, the new place they're building, the downtown Wellen, which is basically all dirt right now. It's even from like 1 or 2 of the communities, it's not like it's walkable inside, but from from Grand Palm to downtown Wellen, it's 2 miles, and Boca Raton's kind of an oddball. It's like 20 minutes from, and then Island Walk and Gran Paradiso, which are way closer. Those are like, it's still the 40, so it's still like this. It's like basically having a super short drive to your downtown is the best way to look at it. But so we were looking at kind of this idea of like saying 2 separate couples buying 2 separate houses, a couple different ways. So one would be like 2,100 square feet to 2,400 square feet, slightly downsizing. Kids aren't a super big concern, but like the wide lots, right? So like 62-foot lot potentially with a smaller house, like a 2,100 square foot house, so that you could have the wide lots really provide this bandwidth to have a wider exterior outdoor patio, lanai, kind of screened area, because they only really do those to the plane of the houses. So you need, if you have a 40-foot lot or 45-foot lot, you may not provide what you like as far as the outdoor setup. And that's one thing to think about of 2,400 square foot on a 45-foot lot versus 62 means that they're going to go narrow and long versus wide. And that affects the back as well. So that's something to think about. But so we were running through that conversation of, we went to Grand Palm first, and we looked at, so the really popular collection in Grand Palm is always the coastal collection, which is the Sanibel, the Captiva, I think, the Kiowa, the Savannah 2. Those are the smallest one in there is 2,400 square feet. It's the larger lot, but they go to 2,800 to 2,900 square foot. So your money goes a long way, especially on the big houses, because that would be a way more expensive to do elsewhere. So a lot of people really like the Kiowa and the Savannah 2 especially. And if you like the Sanibel, which is 2,400 square feet, then you basically are competing with all the people that like the coastal collection, because you have to build in the same kind of lot because of the width. But that also is what makes it attractive. It's smaller square foot, 400 square foot smaller than the I think the Savannah 2 or the Kiowa, one of the two, but it's still in the same lot, so it provides kind of a happy medium for someone that doesn't want the burden of a large house because they've already done that. And then, so the Sanibel is interesting. So the Sanibel is not at any community as a model that you can walk through, not at any community in all of Sarasota County except for Boca Royale, which is in Englewood. So we're going to go over there tomorrow, but that seems to be the kind of the front runner. We also looked at the Sea Star, which is in the Cove collection, and that is going to be 2,400 square feet as well, but the example of that's on the smaller lot. So the Cove is smaller than the coastal, and that is going to give you a slightly narrower version. It also has kind of a formal dining, which depending on how you live, it might be a waste of space or maybe not. But that's really viable because, I think the Cove collection is far less competitive than the coastal. So if you simply hop a different collection, now it might be a sacrifice to you though with the lot, but if you hop to a different collection, you might have more availability eventually. So when they release, say they release 8 lots in a month, right? It's not all one collection. It's 2 Cove, 2 coastal, 2 whatever. There's 3, 4 in there. So they're gonna vary it. There's gonna be villas. There's gonna be all this stuff. So anything you can do to put yourself in a better position is always helpful. So, but we really did the grand tour at Grand Palm. We did. So the idea was to buy, the families each buy a single family house similar to each other, live in the similar area, and then for the daughter, either buying a villa, which is still, I'm really high on kind of the value proposition of a single family villa inside Neal communities. I think are really attractive, how they live, the price, everything, appreciation, or do go ham on that bigger house. So say it's 3 separate purchases, 2 single families and a villa, or go ham on a big house like a Kiowa or a Sea Star with the loft option, which takes it to 3,000 square feet. And then, which a lot of these have a loft with a full, a 400 square foot upstairs that includes, a loft, a bedroom, and an ensuite. And that would allow it to kind of live like an apartment, positionally. So that's kind of what we were working through, is those 2 kind of ideas of saying 3 separate purchases or 1 bigger purchase and 1 medium purchase to do the same thing. So Grand Palm's interesting in that it's been there so that's the thing about that people I don't think really, that don't know the history, don't realize about what the Wellen Park or the West Village is that Grand Palm's existed for 9 years. They've been building over for 9 years, probably a couple years left. And so it's an evolution of stuff that's existed and then stuff that's brand new. And so if you think about the historical end of it, there's mature trees in there. It's different. It's very nature centric, but that area has evolved quite a long period of time, and there's some stuff that's brand new, and there's some stuff that just started years ago and it's fully mature. So, but the interesting part about that is so I didn't even know, I don't think I knew this till recently, is that Neal in Grand Palm was building, they were calling them cottages, and they're these kind of coach homes like them Grand Paradiso, but smaller, and they don't offer them anymore, but they sometimes go up for resale. There was one that just went pending at 310. And we heard about a new one that might be coming, so we're gonna kind of keep a marker on that. So that could be an interesting for the daughter as well. Kind of the idea is to get the family in one neighborhood. So, but that went really well. I mean, the bang for your buck, and especially if you can kind of do one of those plays. The girl that has represented every sale I've done in Grand Palm. Her name's Erin, and she's amazing. So I think the experience would be very, very nice. So that's kind of where we started. We spent a lot of time in there, and the original plan had a lot of other things in play. So based on what happened in there, Oasis was closed. I think I mentioned that earlier in the video, so we're gonna go there anyway. And we decided based on how they like Grand Palm to skip Renaissance, because Renaissance is mad at me, and it's a little bit more track house feeling, honestly. Like, it's just similar, the elevations, it kind of drives similar to, the things look a lot more similar to each other basically. And they have some price benefits and that kind of thing in there that are different than Grand Palm, but it's an extremely different community. So they're already familiar with it, so we decided to squash that. Spent more time at Grand Palm, and we looked at the future home sites and all that kind of stuff. So my gauge there is they're gonna have another release soon. They were having a meeting actually while we were there about the release. And so I think there's a shot at getting some interesting options in April, and then they're just gonna keep building it out. But we got some time there, and to at least like have an opportunity to win a lot in there. So we went from there straight to Island Walk by DeVosta. Island Walk is gonna be right in front, right across the street from where, no, actually, like, it's basically right next to where Wellen Park's being built. Grand Paradiso is also right in that area. And Island Walk is what is gonna be like another, they really went in a really nice way with the amenities. So, and it's called Island, it's really built like, it almost looks like canals on the map, you know, like it's all these lots, a lot of water, that kind of thing. So that's DeVosta, very different. So a lot of people like the Pinnacle model with DeVosta. In Island Walk, it's a little bit more like Mediterranean, Florida looking versus real coastal Neil. And so they walked the Pinnacle, they walked a couple different models in there. So the issue with that at the moment, in my opinion, is it's just way more mature. You know, like you walked, one of the models were built a while ago, and they kind of feel antiquated a little bit. And they did some kind of weird stuff to some of the models. Like they had a raised dishwasher that was like, the counter was raised above the counter next to it, almost like a bar, like the up bars. But they had a raised dishwasher that basically put like, sorry, my hand got tired. But it just, I don't know, like the pools looked a little old, and I thought it was a little anticlimactic at the current moment. But I mean, I was selling an Island Walk a while ago, and it's more mature, and with that, it's just availability. You know, they have reservations on a lot of the current stuff, but it's basically, if you wanted to still build in there at certain homes, there's like this little strip almost of availability, and if it's not that, it's nothing. And so they felt kind of like that about DeVosta, and they had also been interested in Talon Preserve and Beach Walk in Minnesota Key. We talked about the Englewood thing, but so their experience at Island Walk kind of soured them on some of that, so it pointed them harder back in Neil, and they definitely had affinity to the Neil. It's just, you know, and that's how some people may feel about DeVosta versus Neil too, in DeVosta's favor. It's just stylistically, I always say these things are so different from each other that that usually you lean really hard in a direction, and then you use that as a border against everything else, you know. So so that's what that did really. So basically we spent all that time amongst those two communities, you know. And you know, it's multiple people trying to figure out multiple things, but if you're really, and these folks are really honed in on Wellen. They weren't trying to say Lakewood Ranch versus Palmer really versus Wellen. So if you're really honed in on that, they have family that live in Wellen already, then, and they love Venice Island, they like the beaches. Like I said, if you like it, you really like it. They're not trying to figure out Palmer because Palmer's access to Siesta Key, right? So that's not what they want necessarily. So they're not going to say like, okay, well, how do we figure out Palmer versus Wellen? Because it wouldn't make sense. It's a different lifestyle. So that's kind of what we did there. They really like the Venice schools because the daughter's kid is going to be in preschool, I think, soon, and then elementary here shortly. So Venice is great. So we did all that. You know, really interesting. A lot of context, you know, for you guys. I wish I could have got a little bit more on site. I tried to record a little bit. They were riding in a golf cart ahead of me, and one guy dropped his hat, and I missed the hat with my truck. I was following him, and then it was like a straw hat. And then someone dropped their sunglasses that I did not see and completely destroyed those. So I missed the hat, but I destroyed the sunglasses. There was no prayer. Everything broke. I don't even know where the lenses were. They disappeared, disintegrated. But it was very enjoyable. Really cool people in New Jersey. New Jersey. Couldn't be nicer. Really fun. But so we're basically gonna. So that's kind of what they're doing. And so price point wise we're probably in this like 650 to 8 something conversation. So that's the context of all those models kind of fall in that veil. Villas there, you're going to probably be net when said and done, probably in the mid to upper three, probably upper threes. It just depends how crazy you go. But the villas there walk amazing. I think it's one of the better purchases in town if you're gonna go that route. Can't do a pool, but other than that, very interesting. So tomorrow what we're gonna do is, it doesn't make sense just to, again, like run through different areas of town for no reason. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down to Englewood at Boca Raton to see the Sanibel model, which is the only one that sits in town. It's a golf community, they have a gate, you need an appointment, blah, blah, blah. So we're gonna go down there just to see the Sanibel model. And then we're also just gonna take a peek at North Venice in the Venice Woodlands Toll Brothers community. Might drive through Aria just because it's Neil's signature and they like Grand Palm. None of the things over there are gonna look like Grand Palm. Grand Palm has multiple pools, full-on nature trails, mature landscaping, a massive, I don't know, it's like, I forgot how many acres it is, but lake that you can kayak and paddleboard in. It's different than anywhere. It's different than Grand Park. It's different than Windward. So, like, if you go to, now Toll is interesting because it's a different builder, right? And they're a luxury builder that has an affordable price point in Venice. But if you go to Aria after this, it's just going to feel like a more expensive version for less, to a point, because of it's not any closer to the coast and it doesn't have better amenities than Grand Palm necessarily, depending on what you're looking for. So we're gonna do that tomorrow, and then day 3 might not be necessary because this is more of even like a gravy day based on this search. I think it's more a logistics game with Grand Palm. So that's the game plan. I had a couple new calls right after. I kind of ran to a coffee shop real quick to do that. So a couple new calls. So I had a guy that's trying to do an urban infill in Northport under 350 with ICS insulation, was a hot button. And so we're gonna kind of try to find a scratch builder, find a cheap lot in Northport, which that's probably the area to be looking at if you're gonna be doing that, especially if you want over a quarter acre. So we'll see kind of the viability of that. And then, yeah, so then, I mean, I got some things going on this weekend, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you tagging along with me. Again, I'm trying to hop on here as much as I can to tell you in real time, kind of you get a feel of what people are trying to do, different parts of town. I'm gonna try to show more stuff, but if you're trying to do the same thing, like what people are trying to work through mentally that may be a little bit ahead of you or parallel to you, and get an idea of kind of the experience. I was there with my agent, Deanna. So sometimes, today we spent the entire time together, both of us, because of the transportation thing. But, you know, you get just a little bit more resources than a typical experience. So try to provide that in every way I can. And yeah, that's basically it. So I'm going to wrap up here in a second, and I will see you guys in the next vlog. All right, that's it. It is 5:33. I'm passing Siesta Keys exit on the way to Fruitville, wrapping up for the day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please check out the description box below. I will post the other stuff. If you're enjoying the vlog, I'm gonna playlist it. You're gonna see them in order. Hope you enjoy that. Got a lot of stuff going on next week, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. I will probably do the next vlog on Monday. Probably won't do weekend vlogs at the moment, but I might start doing, it might be daily. And I'm liking it, and then I'm gonna mix in more traditional content as well to try to give you as much value as I possibly can. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.